Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to Trade Setup and the afternoon stream, or the live stream, sorry, for the 1st of December. So it's that time of the year where we all get out our Christmas trees and start decorating. I know that's on the cards for us tonight. Get the family. I might see if I can would like an eggnog. Maybe do that with a nice beer. A nice cold beer would be nice and relaxing. So it's getting into Christmas time when you start putting up the trees. It's only a couple of weeks away now, so we're into that hectic shopping time as well. So I hope we're all looking forward to that. Looking forward to nice Christmas, nice relaxing time, a bit of eating as well. So it'll be great for me. I love it. All right, I hope we're all doing well today. It's a good day so far. A really good day for us anyway. I'm quite enjoying what the market's playing, how it's playing out for us. So we're so far so good with the alerts we've got running. We've got quite a few positions on at the moment, so quite a few alerts running, so we're quite happy with the way they're going. Now we'll go through the housekeeping. We're looking at the general advice warning here. If you haven't been with us before, just take a look at general advice warning and disclaimer. For trade setup, we're not giving personal advice, obviously. It's just all general advice and our personal views on where we think and what's happening, not taking into account anyone else's situation. So take a look at that. And we've got our new website, which we've mentioned a few times now. You can click on the claim your 5-day free trial, and you can take a look at our up-to-date results. If you just click on this button here, so that will take you to a site where you can view our results, see what we've done. You can even match it off on some charts if you want, just to see what we're doing. But yeah, take a look through there. Any questions on any of that, just feel free to have a chat with us. You can send it through to support@tradesetup.com.au. Alright, so the topic for today, we're going to talk about obviously a Christmas rally, so we'll get into that. Is that on the cards? I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I'll give you my opinion and why, and what I'm looking at, and what I think could be really just supporting this market and pushing it higher. And also, we'll just go through the market as usual, just have a bit of a rundown on what's happening where we're at just at the moment. Alright, so let's get into it. Just get rid of some of these here. We've got the market just here. We'll get on the ASX in just a tick. So that's the XJO there, the ASX 200. The market's looking quite good. It's up 30 at the moment. It has, if we just go intraday, it has 5-minute chart opened up quite strong. We expected it to be a bit stronger. The future was up quite a bit, I think, overnight. Probably about 20 points. I think they finished up on SICOM, so the night session for the ASX. Opened up, obviously, kicked up to 54.80, had that bit of a correction back, and it looks like it's edging higher again now. So it'll be interesting to see if we can continue back up through 54.80. We've got a lot of our stocks. We've got some ones here. Let's just get rid of that. We've got this one here as a cracker. And we got it through 37, and it's just continued on, so that's really nice. That's Galaxy Resources. We're expecting that to probably bump its head up against 50 if it can. That'd be nice, just up to 50. We might look to take a partial. We'll see how we go today anyway. But so far so good on that. Pilbara's a new one today. So that's 56. So that's just ticked off for us today. Kicked off, and that kind of price structure still looks really nice. If you can see that little curve in price structure is holding higher lows, touching up on some resistance zone there. So if we can get that big wash out of that resistance, that'd be nice, and that should kick it up to, head up towards 70. We'll see how that goes. What else do we have running at the moment? Now this is one that just discussing previously, which is a bit of a silly move. We got BPT. We were long that from about 76. We bought that around 76, and you can see all that price action. Really went. It looked nice. It still looks quite nice actually. Yesterday, so we had that pullback. We had that push up to about 87, 88. A bit of a correction lower, 3 candles lower, and it just touched down. Obviously, had the risk level, the exit level, the zone a little bit too tight. So it has touched down on that pretty much for 1 minute. If you look at an intraday chart, you look at that intraday candle right about there, bang, 78.5 to the T, and then hasn't looked back since then. Obviously, OPEC, they did what they did overnight, and it's opened up really strong and still looking quite strong. So that's a bit of a bugger. I mean, it happens. Still locked in a small profit, but it would have hit our target around the 90 as well. So it would have been taking some off the table right now. So anyone who's actually still got that, if you've got that, just tighten your risk up and maybe take some off the table, see how you go, and just see if you can edge higher from here. It's still looking quite good. I mean, you can see that price action has washed out these highs, pulled back, make a higher low just above 50, and it's had another leg up, which is roughly even to this leg from, say 35 up to 80. We're looking for the same sort of level, so in this zone here is not a bad area to take half off. Let's just look at what else we got here. Elders still looking. I mean, the weekly, look at the weekly, looks good. Daily just butting its head up. We're around $4, probably a bit aggressive, but expecting a pop up. Still holding that little trend up. It's just looking a bit tentative at the moment. Bit of a rejection of 410, so we'll see if they can push back up. But at the moment, we're up against it on that one. CAT, that's looking okay. We've got another couple up here. SLR. It's not SLR, sorry. That one's an entry there. It's pretty much back where we got in, so we're looking for that to take off. Holding higher lows, really nice actually. CCAS, a good one. This one here is at 537.5. That's really kicked off into 6. We've just had taken a half off today, around that $6 zone, so that's nice. And we'll just see what can happen from here. It's looking a bit stretched, so anyone that's got that one is following CKF. It's just looking a tad stretched just at this time. Not a bad area. You can see it on the weekly too. Even that weekly is, it's good acceleration high, pretty much near vertical move on the weekly charts anyway. After that consolidation phase through here, building the higher lows, good projection high in the 6. We're happy to just take some off there. We might tighten risk. We'll see how we go, or just give it some room to run. It could easily keep kicking higher. You never know. That's about it. So let's just go over to the. What do we got here? We'll go over to the ASX. So what I wanted to have a bit of a chat about today. We won't worry too much about the Aussie. Looking at the Aussie, I don't think it's changed too much, to be honest. I think it sold off a bit last night. Gold, we obviously know, got knocked on the head a bit last night. Back down to 1170 to 75, somewhere around there. I think where we got it at the moment. No, below 1170. So it's just dropped off a few more bucks today. So what we're going to have a bit of a chat about today is a few factors that we're looking at, all right, and why we think there's going to be, traditionally that Christmas rally. I think people get excited, go push up into Christmas. We're all feeling that nice holiday spirit, the euphoria. See if we can get an early present with a good push up in the ASX. There's a few factors we're looking at. Obviously, firstly, we'll go over the technicals and why there is potential, even though it's sort of hovering around that overbought. There's no reason why that can't, hold this sort of overbought level, keep teetering, oscillating around that overbought, and just keep pushing higher. We're borderline. You can see. Oh, that's not the daily. That's the daily. So this is on the daily chart here. You can see that price action. It's bounced off, and that was a key level, 50-50. And that was over the elections, when a Trump sell-off, and then obviously the next day a Trump rally. So it was a bit confusing times, a bit of volatile times as well, but some good opportunities in that. But really, what we saw during that time is that the technicals are still holding true. Your key level, and you can see, if we can just draw it up, draw up the segment there. So your key levels, and we've had a leg up from here to here, and so really that's a key zone around that 50-50, holding that current leg up. Contraction in, and that's quite solid contraction. Obviously, there would have been a few people caught out by that, especially when that popped through and you had a lower high, still coming into play, holding the market down. And probably people expected a bit of a lower high here, that to continue that zone through there. If you can see, just in here, to hold that market down and then roll over potentially. Well, that's not what I want to do. Just potentially to keep pushing it lower. All right. But what happened, that would have caught a lot of people off guard. You've had that strong rebound. The uptrend's technically holding quite well. A bit of a washout of some late long positions, holding with this trend higher, this trend line, and it's just taken out the top side. It's around 53.90, say 5400 even. And we were watching that, saying just be careful if anyone's looking for short indicators. Just watching that level, watching closely to see if it drops off that level, fair enough, and builds a little minor lower high. Let's not worry about that. If we built a minor lower high in here and then roll over, something like that would have been nice. Okay, then we could probably go in and start getting some shorts on, get some more short actions, or just be careful of your long positions. But that little big rejection, big bounce, and the strength of that bounce was incredible. And when you get these push up and you expect a deeper correction, it doesn't happen. That can generally lead to a strong move, and it did. It led us to straight up to 5,500. And at the moment, we're looking similar price action. You can see that initial rejection yesterday, pushed lower and got rejected, and then it's looking like it's going to edge its way higher again. So I think definitely we're going to see some 5,500 come under fire again, or 5,510 up near that zone, and it could take us up. Yeah, on a daily basis, we could be looking up towards, retesting up towards 5,600 and just above. And that's what we're sort of be gearing up and giving the reasons why today. Why we're expecting maybe that to come under fire today, through December into Christmas. All right, let's just, while we're on the ASX, let's just kick it down a bit. We've got the 30-minute chart here. Now, like I said, up until yesterday, I had a big sell-off and a rejection. That was looking negative, but in essence, what you're getting is a strong leg higher. You've had a strong leg higher from that 50, well, it was even 52.80. Good leg high. You expect some sort of contraction. Just take some steam out of that move, and it pushed up through 55. And the thing is, it's come from quite a low level, 52.80, say. Just washed out 5,500. It's a big effort. If it doesn't, sometimes it can pull up short, contract, build a base, and then just blow straight through resistance levels, which it didn't. It's actually just eased up, and it's had a good strong leg up, but no real contraction of that leg to take it up and through 5,500. So it's just pushed up through. You can see what we're seeing now is that sort of base building. This is on the 30-minute chart, don't forget. Rejection yesterday, and what we've done is just taken out some key levels around. We've got 54.72, and it's just pushed up to 54.84 today, intraday. Really, if it was a negative market, you'd expect it to be washing out some lows, at least retesting down towards here, then potentially building that lower high and then rolling over again. But it's just, we've got now, what we're seeing just in here, which looks good, is that higher low build, just because we confirmed that on that push up through 54.72. Now we got to keep an eye on this, obviously. If we're going to see that resistance is going to hold at 54.85, we start rolling over, build some lower highs off here, and then head back down over the next few days. Or whether this sort of continues, build a nice little base through here. If we just get rid of some of this, actually, if we can, build a nice little base through here, consolidate, a bit of a wash out of some lows, but still hold that trend higher, and then blow up through 54.85 on through 5,500 and take out that daily level up through here. It'd be interesting to see if we can do that. I think we can. I think there's a lot of factors that could come into play to push it up. So I don't know what's everyone else's views on the ASX at the moment. Are we bearish, bullish? At the moment, I mean, just looking at that, it's that daily trend. That shorter term trend is higher on the daily. We've had a rejection, at high low build, and it's taken us up into a potential resistance area. So from here, whether we're going to build that lower high, roll over, or this is going to hold and blow us up through, and take us up to 5,600. At the moment, it's not just confirmed, but for me, that daily chart is looking good. Drilling it down to the half an hour, and again, that's looking good. Especially if we start seeing a higher low building here, like continuing on from there. Just sort of stay in this zone. So feel free to chuck in your answer. If you disagree, you agree. So technically, all right, that's what I'm seeing here. So now we've got to back it up with, I guess, look at a few macroeconomic factors. It's not my forte, but it's definitely, obviously, following those factors and what could drive the market. Now, what happened last night? We were talking about this for a few days now. We had OPEC. You can see oil really bounced higher, and this is the reason why I didn't think it was factored in, is because, well, we've discussed this. Every time it pushed down to 42, there was talk of a cap. Every time it pushed up, there was talk of the cap failing, between OPEC, and it did. Every time they did some, a bit of talks about it, there was always somebody that wasn't willing to come to the party. Iran, Iraq, and they wanted this, they wanted that. Everyone's sort of floating their own, I guess, pushing their own barrow, got their own agenda, and that took a while to work out. And then we had it fell apart, I think, on Monday, prior to last night, or Tuesday. That sort of fell apart when Saudi Arabia said they're not going to do this, and Iran fought back saying something else. It's like the bickering, the childhood bickering, or the schoolyard bullies. Everyone, all the alpha males, I guess, trying to argue about what they want, what we want, what's good for us. So that was interesting. And then obviously last night they come to an agreement, and that's really lifted. And I think that's why we didn't see any too much of this potential OPEC agreement get factored in, because there's too much toing and froing, and it was just oscillating between, I don't know, $42 a barrel, 43 on the futures, up towards 50, even a tad, and it got a bit lower after that, and it just seemed to be people were just getting a bit negative towards it, whether it could happen. And then obviously last night they come to an agreement. We saw I don't know, about 8%. Yeah, that's exactly right, Brian. I'm not leaning. There's a sort of, I'm getting towards that dead end just at the moment, where if we do see just another little sign, particularly on the lower time frame charts, not so much the daily, but the half an hour, whatever you look at, just to give it a go on the long side. Um, that move down there, just to continue on, that's on a 30-minute chart. Oh, get rid of that. That move down is a good little washout too. You can see that extended down and then bounce straight back up. So when you bounce straight back up, what you would expect, move down. So that's a sharp move down, bounce back up, but not all the way back to resistance levels. And then sellers stepping in a bit early, 50% retracement. We say 1/3 to 2/3 retracement. So that's a leg down, 1/3 to 2/3 up, which it did, is about 50. Sellers come back in. What we saw is this leg down, retrace the full amount. Not a good sign for the bears, and that's what we got. We got the high low build, and it's popped back up. So on the 30-minute chart, I think this is a next key level, 54.84. And if we can get that high low build where the buyers are starting to step back in again, it may take a few, 30 minutes, maybe a couple of days, and then build that for that momentum, push it up. So we're really, what we're drilling down to, why would that happen? What are the factors? If the macroeconomic are not looking good, you'd probably expect it to roll over, build the lower high, and this is just a bit of a retest of that 54.84, 85 zone. But I think the what we're discussing, like oil, that I think that's going to take a long time to play out. Now, if they do, they've obviously capped it. They've decided they're going to go to the non-OPEC members as the next port of call. Go to the non-OPEC members. They come to some sort of agreement to cap production. Then you'll see any of these longer-term short positions on oil, any sort of oil plays, people might be starting to step back in the market. Bargain hunting, like we discussed in one of our alerts, I think it was just the last alert. People are starting to go into some stocks, some oil-related stocks, some energy-related stocks, jumping in at these low prices, because it has had a long time it's sold off for. So I think that's a positive factor for this market to appreciate. We've also got, so that's not just going to be a flash in the pan type of thing. They're obviously going to cut production. It's going to last for a while, and then then you start getting, lower supply prices. Supply and demand prices appreciate, and crude. You've probably got a few plays that people are waiting at, building a position, and then once the OPEC come to an agreement, they've got some long positions on, and then start building as the market, higher lows, higher highs, and just follow it up, build some good positions in that market. So this will be a longer term play, I'd say. So I think that's a very positive factor on a Christmas rally, something to support it, because that's been a longer term drag on that market too, on sort of especially that sector. What else have we got? We've got interest rates. So US dollar's quite positive. Interest rates in the US, which is dragging the market higher. Inflation pressures in the US from a Trump rally. Obviously, that's still, I think you also have to start doing some things soon. Start not just talk, but start showing his hand a bit. But it's definitely, the market's in an uptrend, especially in the US, and that's going to drag us higher as well. US dollar, strength in US dollar, strength in commodities. So I guess gold's one good example. Even gold's dropping, the Aussie dollar is quite low. So in terms of digging it out of the ground here and selling it in US dollars, still quite good. The return is still quite good, because you get that FX, translation, or that FX boost from buying it. All your costs are in Aussie dollars, which is quite cheap compared to US, and selling it in US dollars. Even though the price of gold's going down, so too is the Aussie. So it's sort of balancing it off a bit. So yeah, that I think there's a lot of good factors there with a stronger US dollar. Also, and you can see, and then just taking a note, what's happening with gold. Gold's generally a safe haven investment, so that's getting belted lately. A bit of technical selling too as well, but really, if people are happy not to get out of a safe haven investment, what are they going to put their money? They're going to put it into more risky, back into stocks, I guess, lift the market, and I think that's a good sign that that's the general consensus, general feeling. So I think that could really drag us higher as well. If you see, gold, people jumping into gold, jumping into bonds, they're selling bonds in the US as well. I haven't really followed what's happening in our market, but this, the US gets dragged, we get dragged higher with the US as well. Over there, obviously these key things is just showing people the positivity in their attitude towards the market, going to the next month. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when they come about and they do raise rates, like we said before. Could be buy the rumor, sell the fact, but I'm not sure the date of that meeting. I think it's later in December, later on this month. I'm not sure if it's earlier in the month, but we'll take a look at that later. If anyone knows, just whack it into the chat there. So there's those factors too. It's just people happy to be into more risky assets, to get into rather than safe havens like gold, maybe some other ones, silver. I'm not sure if they view it that way, but traditionally gold, bonds. We've got, the technicals are telling me good signs for longs. Also could roll over, but I think the fundamental backing or macroeconomic factors to push the market looking good. So anyone else agreeing there? Anyone? Other comments there? There was something else I was just going to quickly look at. It's just escaped my mind. So yeah, that's the way we're viewing it. So I'm seeing more continuation of that. I think there's going to be great rejection of 50-50. I think we're going to get more of this, bit of appreciation pushing up through that 55-20 zone, say, and catching people off guard a bit, because you get these shallow, good push up, shallow correction or shallow pullback, and then another good push up. So these legs are quite even, I guess, from say that point 51.33 up to 53.90. Again, the same sort of. Well, let's actually just check it. So I like to do just a bit every now and then, just to see if that's the same sort of volatility projection we call it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, actually, it's right. It's pretty much right on. So that's a good way just to check. That leg's quite strong. So up around this, when it coincided with that high, it's a good little area to expect a pullback. We've seen that. So if this is actually going to go again, and that's the lows, it's taken us up through 5,600. So it's going to obviously take a few days, but that's looking good for. Technically, it's looking good for us, and we've got obviously the other supporting factors: oil, strong US dollar, people exiting the safe haven investments, all looking quite positive. So it'd be great to hear everyone else's views on that. If anyone else has got a nice little view on that. Let's take a look at the market while we're chatting away. So we're holding the highs up 35 points, still looking good. Colin's doing good. Let's just take a look at what I wanted to also look at is just look at the sectors. Just take a quick look at what we're seeing. This is the energy sector, XEJ. We just sent an alert through TradeSetup just previously. If we grab a quick look at that, chart that up. Really should have started with a weekly. Actually, let me start with a weekly. So the chart we actually sent out through the alert was in a weekly chart, just to get a perspective. I mean, it's just signs not to jump in, willy-nilly, but you can see. Let me just get okay. So we had that move down, a bit of contraction higher. You sort of wash out of that high there, retest with a lower high, and then we get in sell off again. Couldn't quite get through, and then we had contraction right back up, and really just washed out this high. Okay, so a lot of times we get that washout. That was where we really got capitulation. So we got a really good sell off. That's a strong move. And when we got that it's a bit like the reverse on the ASX at the moment. That bounce, and that was probably. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 4 green bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5 red bars. So it was same sort of period of time, really couldn't make back anything, and then people gave up the ghost. As soon as we got through that 10,000 zone, that was on, and you really did expect to take all these higher lows and wash out this major level through here, which it did. Push down, contract back up, and again, that's weak for the bulls. Weak price action, especially after we've seen that. If anything was going to happen, you want to see it retest and then bounce, but we just got that big push down again. So we've had a couple of strong legs. We can see major contraction over 2012, 13, so a couple of years there. And it took a while to re-wash out those highs from back in early 2012. That was mid to end of 2014. Wash out those, and then we started capitulating. We got a couple of strong legs up. So at the moment, similar type of price action through here. The difference is we've had a couple of strong legs down. All right, and this is on a weekly, don't forget. So, and that coupled with what's happening with OPEC and what's happening with oil, we could just bounce around, but we may see some sharper moves higher. And if we get that type of price section, if you can see, that's got our support through here. All right, we've just pushed up off that. We had a bit of time consolidating just through. Well, that was the world's not straightest line, wasn't it? All right, you can see through 9. So we sort of bounced in, pushed up, retested there, pushed back up, retested again. So we're sort of oscillating between those two levels, and then we've just touched up through here. Now it'd be nice if we can see that higher low build and just a shallow pullback to take us and then get us another strong leg up. May take you probably expect to take a few weeks maybe, or we just get, we blow straight out and then retest highs, and then people who are waiting for this to pull, something like this are getting caught out because it's just a strong market, catching everyone off guard. And there's a lot of room to move on the upside, don't forget. We're sort of, even if we just head up towards 10,250, it's a 1-to-1 on this trade. But looking at the stocks too, remember drilling down to the actual like STO, what else you got, WPL, some of the oil stocks, I think they're a similar type of price action. They're right down in their lows. I think we're going to get a bit of bargain hunting at the moment. So you can see that the trend is still down, really. It hasn't broken. It's got to get up through, even retest the lows, and then start building a longer term move higher, which it could do. I guess I'm just getting back on that fence again. Don't want Davin to be saying anything there, but you can see the trend is still down, and that could just be contraction. But the difference is we've got that OPEC, and that could be that reaction to a potential OPEC, and then it's just popped up through the top side when we got that deal. Okay, just bear with me 1 second there, guys. Sorry guys, back on. Had a screaming child just there. So we got that that top price section will be nice. I think we've got the catalyst, like we were just discussing with OPEC, and obviously everyone else coming to the party, the non-OPEC members, and that should give us the emphasis to people being happy to buy back in because they a clearer picture of what's happening. Start building. It's just the unknown. We just have to be seeing. Take a look at what's going to happen. Just keep an eye on that sort of chart. And what else we got? If we just take a look at. Yeah, you can see that's a very similar price action. That's had a good day today and yesterday obviously as well. That's Woodside. Actually, that's not today. That's a weekly chart. And you can see that starting to curve back up. So we're holding higher lows on that. That could just, work its way back up again. And it's the same. See that higher low just building there? That's nice. 390. That was a good reaction. So strong reaction in that market today. And if we go, that was energy. So let's just look at financials. Starting to show some good signs too. You can see that's the financial sector. So, along with oil and these other stocks maybe coming into play, we've got financials. There's potential for financials to hold these high lows and then work that sector to work its way back up as well, dragging that ASX up with it, obviously. Our longer term, that was it, consumer discretionary sectors still dragging its way higher. Longer term, it's working its way up. Whether we built a higher low here of 2,000 and we're maybe consolidate for a bit and then push back up towards 2250. So there's quite a few good factors I'm seeing anyway, and why we should be getting a nice little rally into Christmas as a nice little Christmas present. But we'll see how that goes. All right, that's probably about where I'm coming from, and why I do expect that move higher into Christmas. It'd be nice to see that push up into 5,600, even taking out that level, have a nice. We've got a good solid base to be to coming off, and we're showing some really good signs at the moment. We washed out a few highs, that sort of lower high there, which is a good sign. May have to build that longer term, a few more days price action in there, and then take off. But we'll see how that goes. I am biased towards that upside just at the moment. I mean, if it doesn't play out that way, so be it. And we're also seeing it, like I said, we're nearly fully loaded on with the alert service we produce. The alerts that are coming out, we're seeing that it did go down to, with that sort of push lower before the elections, we got down to about 1 or 2 positions, I think. We started getting, there was not anything solid, any good setups. And now we're seeing those setups popping up, and we're loaded back up to about 8 or 9 positions. So even with, if we're just following, just looking at that alone, on that sort of portfolio alone, they're coming up and they're showing good signs, and they're continuation patterns. So what was leading us to jump in and alert those different stocks, we're getting loaded, and they're really kicking on too. So if that's the case, and this ASX is going to head higher, I think we're showing there's quite a few good signs to support all that. All right, guys. Anyone want to have a quick look at? Firstly, just whack in a stock if you want to have a look at now. Anything in particular you want to put into chat, just whack the code in there. We'll take a look at it. And I just want to say, there's I don't know if he's listening, but Tim. He's given us a good rap, and we really appreciate that. I think Davin was having a good chat just today, and I just want to say thanks very much for the rap on what we're doing. He was really enjoying these talks, the presentation, what we're doing with the trade setup. So anyone else who wants to have a chat, feel free to give us a call or send through an email. That'd be much appreciated. We can always BSA. Hey Marie, how you going? We'll look at the BSA then. Yet, no worries. But yeah, thanks very much again, Tim. That's great comments, and we really appreciate it. And I hope you're enjoying it. BSA. Look, that looks nice. Let's just take a look. What did they actually do? I just want to put together a new. So this is off Spark. It's a good little program. You can see the depth. Any news that's come through on BSA. So they've got a new contract that was on the 7th of November, earlier this month, or last month, sorry now. So it looks like some good news flow coming through, which is obviously in the share price too. That's all been factored in, or has been factored in, but that's looks good. What do they do? BS Australian Communications and Technical Services Company versus Diversified Engineering Contract Company. All right. Good market cap too. They're doing some 144 mil, not massive, but it's got a bit of volume there. We'll see what's on the bid and the offer. You can see too, just before you jump into things, they've got some good volume on the bid and the offer there, so not too bad at all. Hasn't traded a lot today, probably in contrast to what it has done in the past. But just skipping over all that and going to the charts. Start off with your monthly. Monthly's had a good push down. Obviously, I think that's all the data. Yeah, that's all. It's come right down from $1.20 or thereabouts, pushed down, hit on about 5 cents, and had worked its way up over a few years, back up to 80 cents, come back down, retested. So I spent a lot of time since about 2009 oscillating between, say, 10 and up to 25 cents, and even making lower highs into that. And it's only just recently, we draw that up. Actually, let me try it on another chart. Oh no, this will do. This will do. Sorry, just reading the comments popping through. Don't know what happened there. It's not exactly what I want to do. Alright, so if we're looking at that on the weekly chart, just picking out that level, we can see it's touched down and it's getting on that. It's only minor, but in terms of that, we got sellers stepping in at lower highs, and they've been happy to step in a bit higher and just build that higher low after a good washout down here. Tried to go up another lower, major lower high just here, as in comparison to those highs at $1.20. Pushed back down, and they've stepped in. So buyers are happy just to step in a bit. So it's only a difference between 5 and 10 cents. Step in, and you can see it's just worked off that level, built some lower highs, was holding a bit of a support zone in there, potential higher low. No setups that I can see, and then it's just working on some lower highs, pushing it back in. But the thing is, what we've seen now is just of late, it's had that work up, and you can see the volatility in the candles too. It's just really compressed, and that there too is quite nice price action. So if we can get down to a daily, I think in this zone would have been obviously beautiful. You can see the lower highs and they start to get broken. Whether we get a setup on a daily, and it probably could have been just through here, but we'll take a look. But I guess what I'm trying to say, you can see that on a weekly basis we're coming off a good, double bottom around that 10-cent mark, and we've worked our way up, broken that downtrend, broken those lower highs, consolidated it through 15 to 20 cents on a weekly, and we had a good push up to, well, I think 35 to 40 cents at the moment, and it looks like we've had that negative candle, so that there is looking good for continuation. If we just kick up through, I think it's 37 thereabouts, and then there's a fair bit of blue sky. We could be taking us right up to 80 cents. All right, so you can see that the reaction and action and reaction between buyers and sellers, you're really just trying to take note. And I mean, it's different trying to buy in here where you've had one push down, and you can see that's why we've built those lower highs. There's still some negativity around. But when you make that double bottom at the same level around 10, and we start working off there and just breaking this short-term trend down as we get that working out, and then if you're negative still, sellers are still going to win. They'll end up retesting 10 again, but they couldn't. They're holding higher lows. Buyers are stepping in. So you're seeing that wash out of the sellers, and buyers are happy to step in at slightly higher prices at 15, and we're starting to break that, breaking that move lower and starting to work off of that major support zone. And you're just looking to the highs where we could go up towards 80. So if we go back down to a daily chart, that's looking good. All right, so I think it's yeah, I mean, the only thing I could sort of quickly see is getting a bit stretched up here. There's no reason, and you can see it's just oscillating. But the thing is, we're building those higher lows. Bit of a washout here. Got a higher low holding, so you got this trend up. All right, we've still got potentially. This is one thing we've contracted in. You can see that there, higher lows, but some lower highs have just broken the recent candle. So what I'd love to see is an inside move where we can trade off, and then a few sellers stepping in, but buyers stepping in a bit earlier again. So if we got that support just through here, we've got that move lower if we can see that. Let's just draw it in a different color now. The market's worked. Well, it's not right. Alright, so that's that price action there. That low corresponds just through here, worked off there, and what we're seeing really is that push up through. What I'd love to see now is a buyer step in again in this type of price, a little bit more compression. We've probably taken out this high through here, and then you get that accelerated move, because all this type of price action, people may still jump in and sell, think, oh, this is in context of these highs at 36 or 7. Maybe they jump in, okay, we want to get out. It's not, for whatever reason, I don't know, but if we can get that type of price action through here, just that little contraction, some minor higher lows building, and then you get a good little setup where you can see what your risk is going to be. It's, like we said, it's we're managers of risk managers more than anything else. And then you get that projection up, and don't forget, if we can take out this, we get through that high there, then it's on for another good solid leg up. All right, does that make sense there, Marie? Or the way I see it playing out? But either way, what you're seeing, what you've identified there is some really nice price structure. And just in context of the weekly, off major lows through here, 14 or 15, high low, we've got a leg up. Just waiting to see what happens from here. So I mean, that is a bit stretched on the weekly basis. That's a good strong leg up, so we may just build a lower high here. So just really wait for that, I guess wait for that price action to build. I mean, there's no reason why we can't attack and take out those highs, especially we've just really consolidated around these previous 31, 32, 33 cent level. Alright, what do we got there? We'll look at Worley and we'll go through those others just quickly. So it will be, by the time you hear this, it's a bit delayed too. Sorry, it's only a little bit, but I've probably moved on by the time you're hearing it anyway. Worley. Okay, you know, to say the least, that's on its knees. Just looking at that monthly, look at this most recent price action. So just quickly on a monthly chart, this is, I don't know why it always defaults to that. This is my concern. I mean, it's pushed up towards 10, and the key level holding down that trend, this move lower, is around 12. So, you know, we've discussed this previously. The anchors, it's the anchor for this move down, and we've just taken out this low as well. I mean, the good thing with stocks, you can only go to zero, and that's where you start getting a bit compressed into there, and you expect just bargain hunting to jump in. Thing is, we are still getting a bit stretched there on that move up towards 10. The market's getting a bit extended. You know, it's getting to over that overbought territory. So for that to keep continuing, go straight through there and just keep going up, that move, that probability of that move up is struggling. Got something, an email there. Right, so does that make sense there just on that monthly chart? I mean, I don't know what's happening lower down. It could still be trading, you can still buy it long. There still could be a lot of room to move on the weekly and daily charts, but just looking at that monthly, you'd be getting a bit concerned, I think, if you're potentially thinking about just jumping in long. Declining so for the last 3 years, yeah. All right, so you got that popping up there. So technically, I wouldn't be too keen on just jumping in there, but I want to see that sort of price action push, and it's a long way off. What have we got? Just under 10 now, under $9.50, still 250 off that key level there. So if we just drill it down, remembering that, okay, the monthly chart's working, still the trend is lower. Just go down to a weekly, see what that's showing us. Still, you can see that easily could pop up through just that last price action. You know, the moment, last final MAs are crossed up. Still got a key level around that 12. We're still holding higher lows on the weekly basis, so that's not too bad. It's just whether we see that, you know, if you're going to buy in a breakout there, just remember that you're going to find resistance up towards there, so there may not be much fat in that trade. Compared to going back and retesting down that 4 or 5, building that major higher low, and then working off a major higher low, I think higher probability for a good strong move higher compared to what we're seeing just here. Alright, so I hope that makes sense. You're building those higher lows on the weekly basis, and you can see that on the daily it's a lot better. You can building those high lows, say $7.75 down to $7 and then so on. Got higher highs, but we're really starting to struggle. You can see we've touched 1, 2, 3, and that may be just that resistance zone that's going to hold, and we may wash it out. We have got it pop up today, up close, just under 10%, so it's a good move today. But I think we may get a washout to 10, and then I'd rather see to jump in long on this one. I'd rather see just a good correction back, hold a level, retest this level, wash out a few of these late long positions, these late buyers, wash them out, and then build that higher low. All right, does that make sense there? That's not a daily. I mean, I just don't like, even though the daily is actually looking okay. I mean, just buying on a breakthrough there, yeah, you could get continuation. You might get 50 cents out of it. You might get more. I could be completely wrong. Head straight up to 11, 12 bucks and just keep going. Who knows? But I think the probability for me to jump in there is not high enough. It's it's bearing down on the low side the way I read my charts anyway. Right, quick look at just those daily charts on. See this, I guess the way you can view these too, This is Woodside. We'll just go through some of those energy ones. Yeah, no, great. Yeah, early on that move up there, Sharon, that was, I think, quite nice. Yeah, you got some of this move up when it's initially roll over. So if you're looking at a lower time frame, weekly or something, when it popped up, pulled back on a weekly basis and made a higher low, then yeah, great little trading because you know there's quite a bit in it. At the moment we're getting to the top side, I think struggling. Woodside, I guess similar type price action there. You know, had that move up, contraction, but in the context of the longer term chart, even a monthly, moved down, pop up, failed to get back up there, lower highs, putting pressure on this $30 zone, contracted back off 30, rolling over, took it out. So that's the current leg down. We're still holding that leg down, but we are showing signs. I think this is a sort of key level up towards 37. The thing is, this is different. I mean, I don't know what's happening with the with Worley, but you've got OPEC in there sort of blowing wind in the sails for this, for a potential move higher. So I think it's not looking too bad. You're getting contracting off those lows at 24. Very similar chart to the Worley. You know that the leg's still down, the strength is still down, but yeah, the fundamentals behind it could be quite good, and it is on its knees down here, down at that 25 level anyway. And there's a lot of fat. I mean, if that heads up to 27, it's still $7 potentially in that move, but you just got to really just look into where you're going to place your risk. At the moment, it's got to be on the daily basis just below 29.50, but that's sort of, even if you're just taking a proportion, we want to see that extended. It's just taken out that 30, which is good. I don't mind seeing that. Got through the 30 the last week or so, pulled back in, and we've got just a pop right back up. So it's a good strong day today. I mean, that could continue on through 31.50 and away she goes, but a tougher one to trade, I'd say. But that overall, you can see that contraction that's really struggling to make lower lows, struggling to pop back up after we made this through beginning of April. Pop back up, should have rolled over, it's just contracted. You can see that weak selling, all right, and then some stronger buying stepping in, built that higher low, and then from here we're starting to then wash out some of these lower highs. Got back up towards 30, which is roughly a key level there. Pulled back off that, built another high low on a daily basis, retested there, and it's coming to another high low, and pushed back up through $30. So the price action is quite good there. It's just where's it going to take us up towards 37? We're going to find a bit of resistance, I'd expect. But we'll have to see how that plays out anyway. What's the other one? I'd say a lot of them are pretty similar. I love the smiley face there, Bill. Oh, Brian, sorry. What do we got? The WOOG. So that's a bit better. I'm starting to see that's slightly better. I mean, let's just draw that off the weekly. Let's skip and go to the daily. So just remember, this is a key level really on the weekly. You've had that contraction higher, some good moves down. It really didn't take out that low, and then you built that lower high, 11.50 to $12. You can see those move down, some high lows building, and then a roll over again. So that there is a key level, and this really hasn't had that solid leg down. If we go to a daily, which is here, just get a bit more picture. We'll draw that up. So that, let's just draw it. That's one leg down. Okay, that was that strong leg down, and we're just looking at. That hasn't corrected since that major weekly correction at 12. That we can see that up, correct, higher low, up, started to fail. You can see it choppy. We built a lower high here, and that just brought in some selling, some strong selling. So that off that, I guess it's a double top just in that zone in there, just about below 12, 11.75. Brought in some strong selling. So that overall leg has just been down, 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 down without any correction of that leg. So that's quite a strong leg. We look like we're correcting that now. Okay, you can see that price action. We're sort of holding high lows. It struggled up around this level, built a lower high, and sellers have come back in, but they've been bought up pretty quick. So we've got a good, longer term high low up around that 475 zone, and that's working us back up, and we just got through that was it $6. So I find that price action, because you've pushed up, had a longer term correction. So we could just, if we can sort of take It's really hard to measure that leg from. Bloody hope it's a drawing that. Actually, maybe an arrow will work. Oh, there we go. Let's just draw that nicer. So that leg from here up, and that's our resistance zone. If we can sort of match that, this is just all eyeballing. Say up towards this. Could still be a bit of fat in that trade, and if you can get a setup, we can take us back up here, and then we might contract back off there and build another leg, so we do this type of price action. We've got this move up, going up, and then we've got a bit of a rollover here, down to here, and then we're building again, and we're working our way back up. We may get that price action, and then something similar, lower high comes in, and then we get another leg up. Alright, that third leg, so this is one leg up, we're on our second potentially. Where we go to we don't know, but that's projecting a rough estimate of where 750. We might get that accelerated and just go blow straight through it, but if that recent price action continues, get that contraction off of that overall move up, and then we start building for a third leg up, and that could take us, we don't know, but back up towards 9, but we don't. I mean, that's just a rough way to attack it. I mean, you can see it's starting to get a bit stretched up here as well. If it's 650, I mean, still could keep going. There's no reason why it can't keep going. We can see that contraction. We can see it keep getting overstretched, oversold, overbought, oversold, so on. Hold, and then bang, up she goes. That doesn't look too bad. That's a bit different for me than Origin looks a bit different than what was it we just looked at WPL a second ago. Because of this move down, this good correction of that leg up. You can see it's corrected. It's hold a major high low in comparison to that level. Alright. I hope that's making sense what I'm banging on about now. What was the other one? Oh, AW, we'll quickly go over that. That's not what I wanted. Go over the weekly. It's looking a bit similar. You can see that price section is still looking a bit weak. You've had a move, a wash out of those highs at say 3. It's worked its way down, had a leg up, retested, sort of washed out that previous anchor level up to $2 even. Tried to retest that low, couldn't, and just popped back up, retested the $2 again, and then built that major lower high. You can see in this zone just in here, $1.40.50, and then we've had a good rollover from here down to 30 cents. That price action there could just be, very similar to what we're seeing. We could see another lower high. Be interesting to see how it goes. Again, the difference in this price action, what we've got going for us is OPEC. All right, so you just got to keep that in the back of your mind, I guess. And we've had one fair bit of work done through here, and another good leg down over a year or two, year and a half. We want to see now if this is going to be a major high low. And I guess we're coming into that zone if we go into a daily. Just up, we're just about 68, just roughly where we are now, a few cents higher, is a key leg. If that breaks and we start, that's more confirmation this is a longer term at 50, is a longer term higher low, and then we can work our way back up to attack 90 cents. So potential there. Not saying no, but just keep it in the back of your mind what we've got on the weekly basis. The trend is still lower, but sooner or later those things break. We're going to a different phase. Phases lower on longer term. Look at the monthly. Doesn't look pretty on the monthly, but we might be going to something like this. Alright, does it make sense there? What do we got? We might have to call it a day there, guys. I guess if there's anything else anyone is desperate to look at, even just send it through to the email, or hold off and we'll have a quick look at it tomorrow. But I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I mean, I still think there's some really good potential, and there's some good factors in play that could drag this market higher. We've gone up another 10 points since we've been talking, I guess, up 42 at the moment. So that's a monthly. Even the monthly, you can see that monthly chart's looking good. Even the monthly, if we just quickly have a bit of a scan of that. Quickly draw that monthly. So this is obviously the longer term. we could just be working off that longer term channel through here, and we're at the bottom end of that. You can see that work down. Key level through here was broken with that push up, contracted in, push back up, we're contracting in, rejecting. You can see that, solid rejection of 50-50. That you'd expect with that type of price action and continue to move higher, maybe to 6,000, maybe top end of that zone 64. We're getting to those all-time highs. So yeah, definitely some good probability for a good Christmas rally, so that would be fantastic. Anyway, if there's no questions, guys, thank you very much for joining us again. And like I say each day, if you could spread the word, that would be great. If you're enjoying the videos, any positive comments you want to send through, feel free. We love them, and we do really appreciate that to know that we're heading down the right track. Whether you're getting value out of these days, like I said, like Tim mentioned, he's getting a lot of value out of these streams and what we're doing on TradeSetup. So that's always good to hear, just so we know we're heading down the right track. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll speak to you again tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Bye.